seen some of the tactics of other people in our industry and other investors, and a lot of them are going in and they'll attack price first, right? Because they don't see that there are terms that can be very favorable for us that allow us to pay more. Okay, a lot of investors want to go in and just try and undercut everything. Hey, this thing needs to be vacant. There can't be tenants. It's got to be 100K under asking price or under fair market. And it's like, man, look at the after repair value. Look at what the market's doing and find a way, right? There is a way to pay for anything with the right terms. And there's also a price that matches any terms.
Everybody.
Hot dog.
But yo, one thing for the new guys and like just all the guys who are just constantly doing calls every single day, a key mindset shift that I think really helps is switching to the prize frame. Now I don't know if you ever heard about that, but basically when you're like doing a cold call, you could be approaching it from the frame of like, fuck, I've done 150 fucking calls today and I just want the next one to be the deal, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get the next one to be the deal, and I'll just try to talk them into it. And like, but then you're approaching it completely wrong, and they'll feel that desperation coming off you in your voice. And when you're doing walkthroughs, like I know when I first started, I was very desperate to get my first deal, so that fucked me up in a lot of encounters. So just that mindset shift of being like, the house, the seller, the contract is not the prize. I am the prize. I'm the one who can get shit done. I'm the one who has the buyers. I'm the one who can assign the deal. I'm the one who can sell them their house and create a win-win situation. So that whole mindset shift, you talk differently when you're on the phone. You have a different body language when you're in person. And that's the whole thing that Tyler always says, where you're like, just come at it as a friend and just be relaxed, be like comfortable in your skin, and you will show up differently. And when you're thinking of yourself as the prize and they're trying to win you over, then that just, you approach everything so much more differently, and you carry yourself differently, and people really feel that stuff. So try your best to just switch that mentality, and every time you're on a call, be like, I'm the shit, that they're trying to get me to go to their house. And then when you're asking them, hey, let's do a walkthrough, it'll just come off so much smoother, and they'll be like, oh, of course, come to my house, you know?
Yeah, and that's honestly what helped me get this deal, I would say, was just taking that approach. And even like little things, like when he was asking me advice about his realtor, or even like talking to me about electrical, like I just gave him my best genuine advice, whether he was going to use me or not. And I actually had another conversation yesterday with a gentleman who was selling a cottage in Grand Bend. And it was a similar thing. I thought his pricing was too high, so I actually pulled the data. I knew it wasn't going to be a deal, but I still pulled the data, took the time to call the guy and walk him through the numbers and why it wasn't. And he actually loved it. And he's like, what's in it for me, man? Like, you've taken, 30 minutes out of your day. Like, like people don't do that unless they want something. And I was just like, no, I'm just here to help you and add value any way I can. I think you're a great guy. And he called me back an hour later and was like, man, I really like that call. I'm definitely going to stay in touch with you because I have some buddies that might be selling. So sometimes you just never know where that like helpful value add conversation can lead as well.
Yeah, dude, that's a solid point. I know that's something that, a lot of you guys haven't been able to live with Matt Mckeever, hang out with Matt Mckeever a ton and really interact with him a lot, but he is the absolute fucking master at like doing value first activities where he'll give a bunch of value and then it doesn't always hit, right? But it's like investing. Like you're constantly investing in a return that's going to show up. It's just, it may not be that exact person that you're on the phone with, but I think we've seen a lot of this come out in sort of a public space where like the best example we have is probably of Tyler and getting a lot of attention on the Woodstock like buy and sell or Woodstock community Facebook page. And the interesting thing with that was like Tyler, I think, is one of the best people on our team for building rapport and like actually giving a fuck about his sellers. Like he'll take the time and like he might take a lot of time. Like he might spend an hour or 3 at the seller's house, like legit just talking with them, right? Hearing out their issues, finding out their why, really getting down to the bottom of what's like motivating them, and then creating solutions for that. So I think that's why Tyler's actually one of the most effective people on our team, is because he does those value add conversations. And I think to use the media's language, like now more than ever, right? People want to be heard, right? They want company, they want that feeling that they're not alone in their situation and stuff like that. And I think Tyler's a master at getting people to open up with him, because he's willing to give value first, listen, take that actual problem or those complaints and turn them into solutions that can easily be made, right? Like the lady that Tyler paid the junk removal for, or paid the bill that had to be paid, or the bank's gonna really fucking take over this property. Like Tyler's just like, hey, that sounds like a big fucking problem for you. I'm just gonna leave right now, drive to the bank and fix that for you. You gotta understand, when somebody's at that point in their life, there's very few people that are likely helping them out in that way. And there's very few people throwing them that lifeline. So I think that's why Tyler was able to get so many assignments done last year, is because he actually took the time and he cared and added a lot of value. And that's something that I find Matt Mckeever is an absolute master at, and something that I've tried to learn a lot from. Like you'll see me on Cashflow Tribe 3 times. I do like maybe 6 to 8 calls for Cashflow Tribe a week. And like, I actually, like, I make a lot more money doing wholesaling activities, right? Like making sure this team's operating and producing content for myself is going to create way more long-term opportunities. But the interesting thing is every single week I'm there giving a talk, answering the questions, doing Ask Me Anything, completely solving problems for hundreds of people. And that's turning immediately into more value for everything. Like Alex was at my house the other day for lunch, and just having a discussion with me for a few hours about business development opportunities. And then he goes home, sees one of our deals pop up, buys the thing within 4 hours of being at my house, right? And like, I didn't get anything for having him, like I bought him lunch to come to my fucking house, right? And like, he got like 3 hours essentially of free coaching and stuff. But I recognize that he's a qualified and serious buyer and serious potential strategic partner for us in the future. Now, I didn't think that, I literally had no idea that was going to be inside the 24 hours of him being at the house, he would do business with us. But boom, right there, was that 45K? Okay, so that literally benefited everybody on the team, because that was one of the Niagara Falls contracts that just bang went through our buyers list. And I think it's really because we added so much value. And it's not that he came here and did a deal, it's that he's come to every single council call for the last, however long he's been in council. But I've been doing these calls for an hour and a half every Monday and Thursday, and an hour and a half every Tuesday, plus one-on-ones with each of these people. That are translating into really deep relationships. And I get paid like a small hourly rate to do those. It's like a couple $100 an hour or something. And that's kind of like, it keeps me incentivized, at least pays the bills to go and do it. But at the same time, like that's not where the money is. The money is in the long-term approach of giving a shitload of value and then having it come back to you sometime in the future. And this works out really well, and worked out really well for Tyler, because circling back to that, he had people on the Woodstock like buy and sell or community page on Facebook responding to his flyers, right? He sent out a fucking ton of flyers to Woodstock, probably, knowing Tyler, probably 50 grand in flyers. And then that made it immediately to the community page, where they're like, oh shit, I got this letter, is this guy a scam? And there's a bunch of comments, and some of them are like, yeah, I get those all the time, might be a scam. But then Tyler's buyers jump in, I think it was sellers and buyers even potentially jumped into that fucking discussion on the comments and just shot it down right away. Hey, I did business with Tyler, he's legit. And that coming from like a random person in the community is so powerful. And that's just such a great testimonial to how Tyler's been running his business, right? Because there's such a big opportunity for us to get painted in the wrong light and in the wrong color. We want to be the best at what we do. And a lot of that actually deals with creating great relationships and adding value first. Okay, that's why I shared with you guys yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I shared with you guys the story of Donna at 88 Oak. Okay, that's the older lady that had all those contracts and rental contracts on her property. And I just stayed there until those were cleared up, because I knew that I would feel great about myself and feel great about moving into the next negotiation, knowing that I had helped that lady out. And, you know, Donna didn't do business with me, and that's totally fine. And she shouldn't have, because I couldn't offer her what she rightfully should have got for her property. And she's been fucked over enough times. So I'm like, you got to list this thing. I'll give you as many contacts as you need to help you out with that. But that gives me the security that the next person that talks to Donna, maybe at fucking bingo, right, is going to have a good conversation about who I am and what I do. And so if something ever comes up at bingo, hey, I got this weird flyer in the mail. Hey, and they start, if some Adam guy, hey, Adam was just at my house the other day, right? And I actually called his letter too. And you know what? He really helped me out with a bunch of costs that I was running into that I didn't know how to get out of. Cool. And so maybe that never happens, and it never did. But if you do it enough times, you will get that return back. And that's what I think Matt's tried to impart on everyone on my team. And I'm hoping that we can share that with everybody on the call. It's like, add a ton of value over an extended period of time, and you will 100% get that back in compounding interest on that. Because just when you add value, people come to you. Think about our team. Shahir joined our team, Mike joined our team, Quentin joined our team, Ammar joined our team, Tyler joined our team, Jordan joined our team. Well, Jordan was more of a referral, I think, but everybody else joined our team because they watched at some point a Matt Mckeever video, right? And that inspired them to think more about real estate investing and doing more for themselves and taking control over their financial lives and financial freedom. Okay, when Matt's teaching you how to take control over your financial independence, you're not paying him over YouTube. Okay, he makes a few grand a month from his advertising revenue on YouTube. Okay, that immediately gets burned by employing the fucking 6 people that it takes to actually have a YouTube channel of that size and that velocity. So he's not asking you guys for anything, but all of a sudden we've got a room here with, I don't even know, because everybody's always bunched up, but 4, 8, 12, 16, 18 people here, and 19 including myself, that all came to this environment and probably came to this point in their life because he made a video about doing real estate in Ontario, doing real estate in Canada, doing wholesaling in Canada, all this stuff that he literally does every day, grinding out like for free, right? He doesn't make any money doing that. He doesn't get any value other than everybody coming back to him and him being able to be the hub. So you should be the hub in your market for people to call when they know shit needs to get done, right? Be the prize, as Ammar said. You are the one that can get a deal done that most other people can't. And the reason for that is we have 4,000 goddamn people that we can email right now with an opportunity and be like, which one of you does this fit? The thing is, the glove will fit when there's 4,000 people that you can have a sample size from, okay? So like, there's just no way it won't. And that, I think, is where a large part of our power comes from, is having those resources available to us in terms of that volume of buyers and their resources, because their combined resources have got to be $1 billion, right? Like 4,000 real estate investors that all have access to lenders, all have access to cheap money that they can borrow. Probably a lot of them have access to private money that they can borrow with very little qualifying details and stuff like that. So there is so much money around us. And I think if we get that other part right, where we're adding a ton of value first, we can often get deals that nobody else will get. Okay. And I've seen some of the tactics of other people in our industry and other investors, and a lot of them are going in and they'll attack price first, right? Because they don't see that there are terms that can be very favorable for us that allow us to pay more. Okay, a lot of investors want to go in and just try and undercut everything. Hey, this thing needs to be vacant. There can't be tenants. It's got to be 100K under asking price or under fair market. And it's like, man, look at the after repair value. Look at what the market's doing and find a way, right? There is a way to pay for anything with the right terms. And there's also a price that matches any terms, right? So like if somebody needs crazy ass terms, like a 9-day closing with Ammar, cool. There's a price that matches up with those terms that we can actually execute on because we know enough people. So just wanted to leave you guys with that quick talk.